All right, Matty, welcome back to the Ask Matty show. This is our first show of this week. We did not have a show on Monday because you were on a little vacation, and we need vacation sometimes. So I hope that was very nice for you. But Matt, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot hasn't happened in the last week. That's why I was thinking about doing an after-hour show today, but there was just really no news, nothing really of concern. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go to the questions today. And with the questions today, team, you guys brought some good topics: TRON, Quant, a little bit of trading questions, XDC. Actually, I'll have my own question. We'll pop off with my question I had because I was inspired yesterday with talking with Dan just about previous cycles. So I will start with my question. I get to go first, Matt, today, and then everyone else will fall in line. But before we get into the content today, team, become a crypto charge member. Click the pin link in the comment section down below. It will take you to our website, and you can join us up there. Crypto education is our goal for you. So we are not an exchange. We do not manage your money, but we are teaching you how to properly invest in crypto. And by the looks of some of you today, you guys need it. So join up there. Use code YouTube. Let's get into the content here, Matt. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
I was just gonna get to the content, but I have the first question here. I was talking with Dan yesterday, our guy Dan Habib at Crypto Charge, and we were discussing previous bull runs. And when looking at the 2014-2017 bull run, there were two specific altcoins that popped off before Bitcoin made its major leg up. And those cryptos were XRP and Litecoin. And my question for you today, because you are hammering into the charts all day, every day, is there any coins that are looking to do something similar to that, like a XRP and Litecoin in today's bull market, that you could forecast being like, okay, these are some altcoins that are primed in good position that could pop ahead of Bitcoin's major pop to new all-time highs?
Sure. So, like you said, every cycle is a little bit different. We are seeing some different behaviors than we saw in different cycles. For example, Bitcoin popping a new all-time high before the halving, which everyone told us that, this is the only way that it can happen. And, I think that it's always a good lesson, a good humbling lesson that the markets are in charge and we're just participants trying to, take as many clues and probabilities into our favor as possible. Now, that's kind of always the big question, though, is which one is going to do what we saw last cycle, maybe be a leader, maybe show some, significant strength ahead of some of the other assets out there. And there's a lot to choose from, right? You guys are probably going to put in the comments some of the assets you guys think are going to go first, and I'd be welcome to hear some of those. Maybe I'll add some to my, maybe we'll start doing a YouTube watch list of some of the stuff that you guys put in there you guys think they're going to go first. But from a structural standpoint, and I think let's maybe go back to opportunities that are still, potentially lucrative, something you could still potentially join an uptrend on. Probably HNT and Zcash are probably two of the best performers, at least out of my portfolio right now, that have started to show that higher low being established, but still somewhat within their cumulative range. So I think that those could potentially be a couple of leaders. Now, of course, you're always going to, as the market starts to heat up, you're going to have, all kinds of coins that will do 20, 30, 40% a day. And, everyone starts to chase this and chase that. And I want to make sure that you guys aren't doing that. That's not the goal of a segment like this, is to try to, guess which one's going to go first and put all our money in on that, right? There's a reason that we kind of have a little bit of diversity in our portfolio. We want to look at, a good combination of fundamentals and technicals. But those are probably two of the assets that I see showing some great strength, seeing some great follow through, starting to see some excitement from both, the Twitter community and, on YouTube as well. So those are a couple assets I think could maybe do really well and maybe pop some significant gains in your pocket ahead of, Bitcoin, let's say, reaching $100,000.
No, good answer, Matt, because you really cannot predict what coins are going to run first. I was hoping for maybe a Casper run ahead, where Casper was going to take a lead early on, right? I was hoping some of these we had altcoins in my personal portfolio that ran ahead, like API 3, but you can't really predict it. And I do like that diversity approach with the portfolio, and that's why it's so important to diversify, but not get overly diversified. So I think that was very helpful what you said right there, Matt. And I like how you pointed out Zcash and HNT that are still in a good range for buying opportunities and that aren't that ahead like a Solana is right now, right?
Or Render.
Right, exactly. Oh yes, those two have ran like crazy, and so to join in on those now would be very risky, actually, very risky. I would love to hear some of your thoughts on Bitcoin today, because we haven't really talked crypto in a whole week now, because we could see Bitcoin range up again, and that would be probably very helpful for the altcoins, right? But in turn there, we could also see us range trade for another month, another two months, and we could see us back at this moment we're at right now. What are we at? Like $59,000 on Bitcoin right now, 60,000.
Yeah,
So
we're trading right around 60K. Yeah.
so like we could come back down here again, and that could, be worse for altcoins. I know, like with Casper, I'm still feeling right now. It's like at 1.2 cents right now. And so it's like, wow, I never would have thought I would have seen this buying opportunity. So maybe just capsulating all this together, Matty, what do you foresee going future here?
So one of the things that we're watching for on Bitcoin is to kind of maintain like the 56.75 to 57K mark. That is a level that has been important to the market so far. Of course, really starting to build some momentum over 61K is going to be the ideal bullish scenario here. But I think that we need to continue to build this floor of support. Right around 57K. If we're not able to do that, then I think that we could look to the market signaling, let's say, 52 to 53K again. Now, that's not what the charts are showing right now. We're showing that we're building some meaningful floors of support there. So that's what I would be looking for. One of the things that you pointed out is like ranging, right? And that's one of the main things that people cannot stand. I think that people think, oh, when the market goes down, people panic sell. Yeah, they panic sell. But the greater exodus of traders leaving the market is sideways action. Sheer boredom drives traders and investors out of the market so much faster than uptrend or downtrend, right? That's going to be the number one reason that people leave the market. So there are going to be people who walk away and they're going to, maybe take a month or two off, and I'll come back when the markets are hot again, and I'll join that uptrend. I'll buy that higher low. I know how to buy that higher low. I'm going to do it. But the reality is when these markets consolidate, after that consolidation, that's generally when you get like 2 or 3, 4 days of like big impulses, and chasing that is a fool's game, right? Like you're never going to ever catch that like perfect, oh, I see the perfect start to the first impulse candle, I'm going all in here, oh, I'm going to catch the next top here. It just doesn't generally work that way. So if you guys have a couple opportunities that you guys see out there, now is the time to capitalize on those. Maybe even set some limits for yourself. Look at some other areas of support we talked on today's show. So great entries to join in on Helium and Zcash. If you have not, established a position of size that you would want to, take with you all the way into these take profit 1, 2, 3 areas. But I do think that we are gearing up for another leg higher. Bitcoin looks relatively strong. Ethereum has a little bit of ground to make up here, but we are seeing some other altcoins outside of some of the bigger caps start to show some meaningful candles being printed, showing that some potential continued recovery is afoot.
Last chance opportunity here. I feel like I've been saying it for a couple months, but nothing happens overnight. And so like this year, these last couple months, you have opportunity to make meaningful positions, build those meaningful positions in altcoins that are showing, good buying opportunity low, deep in range, not, at their previous all-time high right now, like Bitcoin or, past like Render or Solana. But the cryptos we've talked about, Matty, you brought up some great cryptos. I think you just gave a great intro to this video because we're going to discuss a lot about these ideas, especially when we get to like trading and, our portfolios and things of that nature. Matty, are you ready for their questions now?
Yeah, let's get to some member questions. Enough with your questions, Gavin. Jeez.
Benj the Man 1 says, is it too late to buy Tron? So, Matty, before we did the live show, I had to throw this at you. I'm like, dude, did you see Tron? So maybe this might be a good charting opportunity here.
Yeah, definitely. We'll take a look here. Like I said, I've had to whittle down my watch list because I did have like over 100 assets on my list at one point. It just doesn't, it's not manageable, right? You're looking at too much. But let's go ahead and pull out to a weekly chart here just so we can see as a team kind of what has happened historically with Tron. And again, I want you guys to make sure you're always looking at risk to reward ratio. We're looking at Fibonacci targets. We're looking at what is the actual potential upside here, because the excitement is, hey, is it too late to buy Tron? Step one, do we know anything about the fundamentals of Tron, right? Like, and I like Tron as a payment facilitator, right? A lot of exchanges offer Tron as rails to send stablecoins. It's absolutely like next to nothing when it comes to fees, and it's very, very fast. So I like Tron as in relations to moving stable coins, but we also want to look at the technical side of things, right? Like, is there actually good risk to reward here? So from the crypto chart here, we have data that goes back all the way to about late 2017. We had a huge push up in here, and again, this is all about timing, guys, right? Like, there's just so many projects that either got the benefit of launching their project right when the bull market was happening, and even though their fundamentals maybe were not great, then you also have projects that were launching in a bear market, and that price action is not indicative of the technology either. So we always want to look at the timing of some of those big moves and make sure that we're not, being blind or ignorant to what's actually happening here. So looking past that peak here, we all know what happened in 2018. Market peaks out. Some of that euphoria starts to die out. This was one of the bigger runs that people remember. This is when people actually started to use Bitcoin as a household name. People were very excited. I can't believe I made $2,000 last night, right? Like it's just it felt like a big casino. I remember it when it was happening. People were just very excited about it. So if we go with our swing high, swing low here, so we're going to go from our swing high, we're going to go to our swing low. So we had our swing high up here right around 30 cents. We had our swing low at 0.8 of a penny. And you guys can see that we actually got a 50% retrace here in 2021. So, everyone wants to poo-poo on XRP and every other coin, that didn't break a new all-time high. TRON also didn't break into a new all-time high in 2021. It's okay that some assets don't get to where you think they're going to go. You break back below, we see that 236 really started to act as a ceiling of resistance. And just recently, we've seen a nice push higher here. We saw a cumulative base here pushing over that 382, and now we're pushing over that 50%. But let's go ahead and push into the smaller time frame here, and let's see what's going on. So first of all, what has price done since this low in here? Price has done a 42% move, so almost 37% up from current market. So if you guys have been watching our show for any amount of time, do we buy these structures? Do we buy structures that look like this? Absolutely not. This is a number one way to make sure that you get the worst price humanly possible. Is it possible that sometimes that you're going to buy in and then it does another 50% or another 2x from there? Yeah, sure. But the probabilities are not in your favor. Markets like to move in a structural pattern, right? And it's not always going to be the same predictable pattern, but you get a breakout. What do we usually like to see after a breakout? Backtest. If you guys are part of our team here, that should be burned into your brains. Your friends and spouses should absolutely hate you because they don't want to hear the word breakout backtest ever again. But one of the things I'd be looking for here on TRON is a backtest of this previous all-time high. We can also identify these two tops in here as an area of interest. So we had a nice accumulative base that was forming in here from March all the way through August, right? So nice rounded bottoms. You guys know all about that. You guys can also see the top here that was broken and backtested. So that's actually pretty clean. So you had a top here in May of 12. You had a little pullback here, breakout, did a little backtest here, and then the next impulse higher. However, these two tops in here are very meaningful. And when we look back here, this was also where we kind of topped out in 2021. Obviously pushed a little higher here, but we had a lot of candle body closes over here in that 14-cent mark. So where are we? We're very close to our previous all-time high, right? So we are only about 90% away, just about a 2x away from our previous all-time high. So let's go ahead and grab our swing high, swing low again here from that 2018 high to the 2020 low, and we were see where we're at. So if we were to get a 1.618, which is kind of where we like to do our TP1 for a lot of assets, what does that actual return look like? It's about a 190% move. So step one, I want to be buying in on impulses, right? What would we be waiting for? At least a pullback into those previous highs, which would be right around here between 14 to 14.4 cents. But I also want to look and say, even if we get a full extension in here, all the way up to that 4.236 from current market, let's say you get in from the 14-cent mark here or so to a full extension is maybe a 7 or an 8x, right? But that's assuming we get a full extension. Now it's a little loftier than a lot of other things we see out there. Would I personally buy into this when we see all the other opportunities out there that clear out a 382 or 236 gap for the same amount of reward? I just don't think the same reward is there. But I do think that right now is not the best time to buy TRON. I would wait for that pullback, be patient, set a limit for yourself if you're insistent on getting into some TRON.
Stega says, the fact that your portfolio is already 50% ISO tokens and you don't have quant tells me you have all the high supply, high cap crap coins. That is unfortunate. Feel sorry for you, Zcash, and him just throwing the Zcash in there is just being a smart ass because he put in a bunch of laughing emojis after that. So he's just like, oh, you own Zcash though? Kind of like that, man.
Yeah, so first of all, I don't think that 50% of my portfolio is ISO 2022 token compliant. And by the way, guys, that's just it just means it's compliant with the existing messaging standard for how we send money around the world right now, like BEPS, SWIFT, all that stuff, right? Like that's all it means. A lot of you guys put ISO on a pedestal, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means that it could have an easy integration into our current system now. I don't have quant. Yeah, guess what? I can't own every payment solution out there. I could probably name 50 other payment solutions. I can't believe you don't own, super fast coin. Like everyone can point out why, what coin that you think you're overtly missing. There's even members in our group here that have different portfolios than me, and I'm never upset with them that they don't own, the same amount of XRP I own, or they own XDC and they own quant as well. I'm not like those are bad coins, because they're not. I just don't buy 50 or 60 coins. I don't. So that's not my strategy. You guys know that. You guys know that I have like a nice blended approach. 10 to 12 is kind of like that spot where I'd like to be at. Of course, you could have swing trades outside of that as well. But really, you want to be able to manage it. You want to be able to add effectively. You don't want to have your attention in too many different directions. So high supply, high cap crap coins, that doesn't even necessarily go hand in hand. There's nothing wrong with high capitalization. And I do have a good blend again in my portfolio of smaller caps to larger caps. That's part of my risk management, which I know a lot of you guys do not have, because you guys think that you just need to follow your favorite influencer and they're going to tell you everything, and you all need to buy only small caps and only this, and this is the only way to go. So, you guys craft your portfolios however you want. Like I said, we've seen some nice reversals on some of my picks here by just being consistent. I don't know why you threw Zcash in at the end there, because that's actually one of the best performers that we've had over the last few weeks here. We're up over 2x, over almost 3x from those lows that we set there, and I was buying those lows. My team knows it. We have receipts on the website. We have receipts here on YouTube. I was buying $19 and $20 Zcash. So, you guys can be upset. You guys can be emotional. You guys can tell me that I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I absolutely do. A lot of times you guys just don't have the emotional discipline to do what you know needs to be done. You would rather just chase. You'd rather be a part of the hype. You believe in the safety in numbers. And that's a complete fallacy, right? Safety in numbers is nonsense. If everyone decides to run across the sidewalk at once and a semi is coming, guess what? All 50 of you are going to die. It doesn't matter if there's one of you or 50 of you. You're all getting run over by the semi if it decides it's going to run across the street, right? So we've seen this with the meme coins as well. Like Trump and Bowden collapsed super, super fast after that hype died out, and that's not safety in numbers, right? That's just a straight up rug pull. So hey, sorry to hear that you don't like my picks. It's not true. They're not all 50% ISO 2022 tokens. I don't own QNT. I've never said anything bad about QNT. I actually started on the show several times for our members because they requested it. So not sure what bothered you so much this morning, but hope your day gets better, man.
Petty says 798. I'm new to trading and I've lost a good sum trying out strategies I found in online tutorials. I would sincerely appreciate any recommendations you have.
All right, so step one, stop trading with live money before you fully understand your strategy. There's so many simulators out there. In fact, inside of TradingView, they offer a paper trading feature. So you can create an account, let's say $100,000 demo account, and you can place trades. So you can test your strategy out, you can place pseudo trades, and you can watch them happen in live time. That's the number one mistake that I see people make, is they want to put all of their money into the market before understanding if their strategy even works, or even putting any amount of money in the market. Test it out, test your strategy. Now, here's what I will say though. So let's say that you test your strategy, and let's say you have a decent win rate, which is not the most important thing. Risk to reward and risk management is the most important thing. And you say, okay, I've been doing this for 3 months. I've been testing this strategy out. I'm using this tool. I'm using this indicator, and I'm winning 70% of the time. My risk to reward's good. Let's say I'm making 20 to 30% a month on my portfolio, right? So you like that. And you've been doing that on demo. Now you introduce a little bit of money into a live account to start testing it out and to see what your emotional status is like employing the strategy, because there is a big difference between demo trading and then putting real money in the market. Now, if you're over investing, like let's say you've only got $1,000 to invest and you're going to put all $1,000 in, you're going to make emotional decisions about that because you're not ready to hone in your risk management. The money feels real as you see the numbers move up and down on the screen. It's not your demo account anymore. So my step one would be start with a demo account, get good at that, feel good about those strategies, see how it works. Move into a small account. So let's say you want to invest 1,000. Let's start with 100, right? Like let's start with a smaller amount. Let's get comfortable with that. Let's get comfortable with the idea that it's real money moving up and down. And then once we see that our win rate and our risk reward is good and we're being profitable with that smaller amount of money, then let's move into adding a little bit more money into our accounts. We have a lot of tools and strategies on the website that are very, very simple to help you guys get plugged into trading. There's an abundance of information out there on YouTube. And like I said many times on the show, I've spent probably about $10,000, $12,000 on trading courses and different universities and different things. Some of them I got great information from. Some are complete garbage. That's the cost of doing business. And I really, really wanted to learn this stuff. So I was willing to spend the money, even if some of it ended up not being what I was looking for, to try to learn a little bit more and meet people that would put me on the right place. We have tutorials on our website for how to use TradingView. So the entire roundabout, we go for every tool that we use, how to set up your toolbars. We show you guys how to use the basic stuff like support and resistance, moving averages, Fibonacci's. We keep it really simple. You guys can add anything you guys want in. In my opinion, indicators end up complicating things a lot of the time. Too many indicators complicate things. So we really come back to the basics. We show you guys how to use those tools. And if you guys want to, you guys could get all that for free by signing up for a 30-day free trial. You can watch all the tutorials and you're like, hey, this isn't for me. You guys can cancel. And I'm telling you guys, use that hack if you guys want to at least check out what we're doing here and go through some of the tutorials. So again, my biggest piece of advice is practice with the demo. And that means practicing every day. Even if it means doing 15 minutes of charting in the morning and 15 minutes of charting when you get off work, it's about the consistency. It's better to have 15 to 30 minutes a day than to only practice once a week for 2 hours. So try to be consistent with it, practice regularly, start with a demo account, and then slowly work in some money once you have confidence that your strategy does work.
One thing I wanted to throw out there, Matty, is because I've seen an influx of, I think you've seen this over the past couple of years, of this influx of trading when it relates to one indicator. So you talked about indicators right now, but a lot of the indicators people are looking for is they're looking for like a crutch to where something like the indicator becomes like their end all be all. They follow the indicator. Thus, that makes them a trader, right? And I just want to throw that out to you guys. I don't think that's taught anywhere on our platform. So if you're looking for that, there is no one indicator over there. I'm sorry to burst your bubble there. But you have to actually put in the hard work for that. Last question here, Matt. We got a long question from Danny here, and I had to trim it. First comment that was ever trimmed on the Ask Matty show. It was just like 3 paragraphs, but he said a lot of good things in here and then capped it off with a question. Danny says, I love your show. I literally look forward to it, and I can't believe all of the hate that comes your way regarding so many valuable assets like Casper, XRP, HBAR, and so many others. So thank you again, and I hope you realize there are many appreciative listeners that gain a lot of value by following you guys. Lastly, can you give me a breakdown on potential trajectory for XDC this bull run? Thanks. Matty, I think that comment right there is the surest way to get it on the show. What do you think?
Absolutely. And I know that we deal with, there's always going to be shitheads out there that, want to hide behind their keyboard and talk mad shit. And you come and talk to me in person, I'm sure that you guys would be, a lot different. But I do appreciate the words of affirmation, and that's why we do this. We know that we are reaching you guys that appreciate the content, and that's also shown through you guys that watch the show and you end up signing for our platform and then they stick around. A lot of you guys have come from YouTube, and I know that you guys are going to be a good fit anyway because you already know our values, you know how our show works. So I do appreciate those words of affirmation, and I do know that we are doing some good work out here, regardless of some of the haters. I'd be happy to chart XDC for you, man. Let's go ahead and pull it up on the charts here. Again, if you guys want to see your picks on the show, every Friday we do Technical Tune-Up Friday, so you guys can go ahead and get your picks charted. If you guys want to see what that looks like for a month, code YouTube gets you guys 30 days free. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the charts, and we're going to get rid of everything on our screen here. So we've got data that goes back to 2021 here on the crypto chart. Now I do want to just double check that Bitfinex doesn't have anything crazier. It does, in fact. So we have more data than that. This is, again, one of the things we talk about on the show is always going through, especially when you have older assets, going through all of the possibilities to make sure you're looking at all the data. You don't want to be blindsided by missing 1 to 2 years of data that maybe provides a support and resistance level that could be meaningful to you, or potentially another fib range that you wouldn't have considered if you didn't have all the data. So let's go ahead and get rid of everything on our screen here. We have quite a bit of data to work with here for XDC. It's actually been a pretty decent higher low that's been established here. We're going to point a few things out on the chart, some things I like, some things I don't like. Let's start back here in some of the 2019 data. So we have obviously the launch here in 2018. So again, guys, look at some of the unfortunate timing here. So you had XDC from launch minus 99%. Does this seem sound familiar to you guys? Is there maybe another asset out there right now that just price-wise isn't reflecting, the value of the network? I'll let you guys go ahead and let me know what ghoulie coin that might be. When we look at some of the tops that were broken in here, this is going to be my bone to pick with XDC from earlier on. You have this big breakout. You have a back test in here. It comes close to these highs, but it's really just not good enough. If we had tested down here first, I would have been a little bit happier with the market structure. So I'm going to go ahead and say that most of this is most likely not going to get retested in here. The other area of concern that would have been back here, right around 9/10 of a penny, that would have been a great area for us to retest as a new higher low in here. But again, this was during 2020, so you just had a lot of parabolas that occurred in here. So let's go ahead and talk about the floors of support that are established, though, from a more current market standpoint. So we're going to look here. That's going to be right around 2.2 pennies. We're also going to look at the top of the cumulative range that was built in here. And then we're also going to look at some of the tops that were in here. So we got a pretty big run up here on XDC on the Bitfinex chart. And we've got the tops in here as well. So this is one of the things that you guys really just need to hunker down on. And again, like we talked about the indicators, if this seemed overwhelming to you, if you guys don't know how I got here with all these support and resistance levels, this is something we cover on the show regularly. This is something you need to practice regularly. And if you master this, Any other indicator, any other strategy you guys want to add on top of this becomes very, very easy. But if you refuse to master this, everything else will always be very difficult. I promise you guys that much. Now, when we're looking at some of the risk to reward here, obviously, there was a lot of excitement, especially during this pop in here. I remember we had a lot of members asking from this August pop in 23, hey, is now a good time to get in? The pop had already happened. We're back here at the bottom of the cumulative range though, right? So again, this is one of the big reasons why I say never buy into these impulses. Prices pulled back about 72% from that impulse. The chances of you buying this impulse and then selling it for a 50% gain here is very, very low. And I know a lot of you guys aren't actually targeting anything. You're just joining in and just waiting to see how high it goes. So let's try not to do that. Now is a very good time. It's very tactical entry because we have the low over here from February of 21, a big bounce here on June of 22, again here in December of 22, and then recently we had a bounce here on August 4. So downside risk is anywhere between 15 to 30%. So we're really not terrible. That's kind of on average what we see down to the next major support levels. We look at from current market up into maybe clearing out the top of this imbalance is about a 4x opportunity potentially. But let's do what we always do. Let's grab our fib sequence here and see what happened from a retracement standpoint. So we did clear out the 236 and the 382 gaps. This is one of the strategies I teach you guys if you guys are looking for a swing trade, you guys are looking for a lucrative opportunity. If you see a big gap up here around the 236 and 382, it has not been filled out from the swing high, swing low. Those are very lucrative areas. They often align with some previous support levels that were lost and have been turned into resistance. Even if it turns into resistance, you can use those areas as potential areas of interest. Now that particular play is gone just because we already saw those filled out. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. That particular gap hunt strategy is gone. Now if we were to look at the 1.618 here, it puts us right around 30 cents. We're trading right around 2.5 right now. Current market up into that 1.618 is about a 10x opportunity. If we were to get potentially a full extension here, we get maybe a 30x opportunity, 29, 30x up into that previous all-time high. So again, what are we doing here? We're mostly mitigating our risk by buying into the lowest support band, the previous accumulative range in here. That's what was providing this big catalyst that ended up popping into the 382 in there, and now we're back in this area that previously was a very big springboard for this asset. So if you're going to swing the bat, now is the time to swing the bat. If you really wanted to get cheeky, set a limit right around 1.9, which would be targeting the lows there. And again, we also see a little bit of like this compression structure in here. So this is a pennant structure, just like we have on XRP. So we could easily see some continuation higher and start to see a breakout over here. If you were to see a move over 6 cents, that's really where I would start to say, all right, that's the breakout move. You're breaking back above these previous tops in here. You're building a floor of support. We're probably going to go see higher prices in here. So again, I don't hold an XDC myself. I know that the fundamentals are strong. I know that it's highly regarded in the XRP community and anyone else who's a big fan of the ISO 20022 compliant tokens. But that's what we're looking for here. You get a break over 6 cents, going to look a little bit more bullish. I would either throw a DCA on here or maybe target 1.9.
Team, we're over time here. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you got a lot of value today. And if you did get value, please leave a like. Do not leave this video without leaving a like. That greatly helps us. Of course, you can join us at Crypto Charge. But final little thing here, Matt. Team, do not miss this opportunity. Matty was just like, I don't know at what point you said this to me today, Matt, but you're just showing a previous range. It might have been on one of our favorite altcoins, but you're just showing a time period when everyone was getting uber hyped on Bitcoin, and then everyone got to it was just like easy money for people, easy money.
Right.
And people got to feel the euphoria of the bull run, all right? And I really want you guys to seriously do the hard work a couple times a week and look at some cryptos that will be valuable to you, all right? You hear the passion we talk about these cryptos with. If you're serious about making money, you have to put in that work. We're not going to do it for you. We can only lead you on the path. And After Hours and the Ask Matty Show does that for you, but you have to do the heavy lifting yourself, or you have to be in tight click with a community like Crypto Charge where you're hearing it from a bunch of different people, and you kind of gain your knowledge base that way. That's how I've gained my knowledge base. Every time Casper throws out an alert on their Telegram, I see it. Every time I hop into Discord, I'm seeing something new. That's the kind of attention to detail you guys need to pay. So make sure you guys do that. Matty, I think we're done. I think we're going to be back on schedule next week. So team,
yes,
tap us with, what did you say?
Oh, I just said, yes, sir. We're back on track.
You said yes, sir, and made me lose my whole train of thought.
Sorry about that.
That's why I always keep it quiet, because the last thing I want to do is say something, and it's like, wait, what was I saying? It doesn't matter, team. Make sure you tap in with us next week, and we will see you then. Bye.